Okay, this is the Slim X. It's one of the thinnest, coolest CD players that I've ever had. Probably one of the thinnest that was made. And it supported MP3 and various other types of media. You can see compared to my other CD players, if we can put them side by side here, the Slim X is about half the thickness of this Sony Walkman. You can see that right there. And this is another Sony Walkman I have, which actually lets me play MP3 and ad track. It's also quite sleek and slim, but still not as slim as the Slim X. It's getting close though. But I thought this thing was having trouble booting up and loading CDs, but I managed to get it to work. The nice thing is this thing came with an external power supply here that you can power with two AA's. You can see in here. If you open this up, you can put a couple of AA's into this thing, and that plugs in right there. Or you can use just a jack from the power plug here, DC plug, that goes in there. And then there's a remote that goes in here, plugs in right there. Now the inside of this thing, if I show you, there were spots here to put in a couple of these very slim gum stick batteries, okay? So you'd have one there, and you'd have one on this side, and that would be your battery supply. Now these are long dead. I'm pretty sure they're not charging anymore, but that's fine. You can still buy them at different places, new. But with the ability to plug in just regular AA's, you know, it's a little bulkier, but you don't need the gum sticks necessarily. Okay, this is the inside of my Slim X. You can see here the top part, which opens up here. And this is the bottom part, right there, Slim X. Now I had some issues with this thing. It was giving me some problems booting up and playing a CD. I opened it and I managed to get it working with the cover off. I don't know what I did, but maybe wiggling a few wires here and there did it. If you can pry this thing off the bottom here, it comes apart relatively easily. You can see there, that's the bottom of the board. There's the top. This is the CD transport mechanism here. And that's essentially it. But yeah, I got it working. I'm gonna put it back together and show you a demonstration in a moment. Now, let's see how this thing boots up. First of all, we'll put an MP3 CD in here. This is one of the ones I burned with some different house mixes on them. And let's see the menu here. So you hold down this button and it turns on. By default, it goes to the radio. Now I'm having trouble with radio reception on this thing. I'm not getting, see if you hold this down, it goes to radio. But I'm not really getting anything in terms of radio signal here. Yeah, pretty much nothing. It's probably my headphone or the radio reception on this thing is gone. You hold down this button here, long press, and it goes into the CD. So you'll notice it's loading up right now. By the way, this thing had upgradable firmware. You'd put a CD-R in here with a file, a hex file, and it would upgrade it. Okay, so there's my menu, and it's playing some music right now, Dream House. And let's press the menu here so you can see what's going on. Okay, so you have general, and you can change the beeper volume, resume setting, fade in language. I don't know what CD anti-shock. Sort, it had a password protect, multi-session. And I think that was for CDRs that were burned in multiple sessions. Okay. The display, backlight, time, LCD contrast, visualization. So you can have the thing even show a bunch of stuff while you're playing. Tag information, can put it on here. See, you can have artist, album title, the time, battery indicator. You had a sleep timer, okay? Control, how you wanted it to, how fast to go forward and back. EQ limit, sound balance, the adapter volume. I mean, this thing had a lot of features. Mode, repeat, shuffle, intro. You could have it go through the entire CD or one directory, shuffle through a bunch of stuff. Even had a game, Snakebite. Complete. Try that. Let's try the game. See if that works. Oh, there we go. Press any key to start. I forgot how to play this thing. Oh, there we go. See? You'd have to get these guys. And the more you got, the longer you got. And then if you got too long, you'd bite it into your tail. Oh, I missed it. And then you'd end up losing. So yeah, now I got to get out of there. Anyway, while I'm doing this, I'm listening to music still on that track. Let me get out of this thing. How do I get out? How do I get out? Oh, there. Yeah. So I think it was... So it's playing, you see? MP3, 44 kilohertz, 128 kbps. It's on external battery, which you can see there. And I can skip forward right now. I think, I'm not sure what that did. Stereo, CD, FM. Yeah, I'm not sure what I did there. Oh, I think it's advancing through the tracks. And then, of course, the volume setting, which is here. See, can go up and down there. And then if you want to turn it off, you just hold down the button and it's off. Now, if I have the gum sticks in there, it gives me the option to charge them. So that's the Slim X. Now, my Sony also lets me play MP3s. I love this thing. First of all, the radio works a treat on this thing, no problems whatsoever. And I've got the options to go through various folders as well and play different things. Right now, inside of this, you'll see there's again another MP3 written CD-R. So I can load in. How do I open this thing here? I can load in at least. I'm gonna turn it off. Hold on. Will that do it? How do I turn this thing off? Oh, this one maybe? Any case, there it is. So I've got my CD-R in here. And I've got about 15 hours of music. On a 700 megabyte disc, you can get about 15 hours of MP3 recorded at 128 kbps. Now, this CD player takes one battery. That's it. One AA. That's a rechargeable. Lasts forever. On the bottom here, you can change the setting somewhere. What was the setting? I saw something here for AM and FM radio. Maybe not on this one. It does have weather band. It has AM, FM, and TV. You could listen to TV channels. There's an input, for headphone output, and the DC input if you want to power it off of the power plug. But this thing is still working. Beautiful CD player. Plays MP3s, which is a great thing because if you burn your own MP3s, and ATTRACK, which apparently is a less lossy format, sounds better. That's Sony's proprietary thing. but it sounds great. You can see it reading the disc there. Not a problem. Reads CDRs, no problem. Total of 7 files, which are mixes. These are, 2-3 hour mixes. And finally, this is another Sony Walkman, a little bit older. Does not have the MP3 player. It does use 2 AAs, not 1. So you're gonna have a little bit more battery usage. This is the one with the switch. Okay, you can set it to 9 or 10K steps for the AM dial and local and long distance for radio reception. So it has radio in it. There's an anti-skip function there, on-off button, I guess just for the buffer. It's a little bit more rudimentary and obviously chunkier, but it works fine. And here you can put in the batteries, 2 AAs. So you've got 3 incredible CD players that are still working quite well after all these years. I love the Slim X, although it can be a bit finicky. It is the thinnest out of them all, and it has a lot of features which are really cool. But with the remote and everything, it kind of gets a little bit, a lot of cabling there. This, you just plug in the headset and that's all you need. And it runs MP3 files, no fancy schmancy stuff. It just works, and the display is quite big. You can't see anything, so I guess that's the nice thing about having the remote, because you can shove this into your pocket and the remote is on your headphone and you can sit there listening. Although you do have the option to plug straight in and use the buttons on the side here if you don't want to use the remote. But yeah, the CDs are still quite popular. A lot of people are going retro here and trying to use these things. I'm going to make another video later and show you what I think is going to be the best option for those retro enthusiasts. And because I have a huge collection of MP3 files and I've ripped almost every CD I have to MP3, and it sounds fine. You can choose the bit rate that your MP3 is ripped at. And as long as you do it correctly, you can sound very close to the original. I know some audio, audio files out there will cringe at the sound of an MP3 file, but for the type of music I listen to, I'd rather have portability and a lot of music on my device and a small device. So I'd prefer MP3 rather than some of the other formats. But in any case, because I have tons of MP3 and because it's all backed up on CDR back in the day when I was using these things, I can play them on these devices. Now, all my MP3s are on solid state drives, hard drives, flash cards, and various other solid memory. And so I can put it in a tiny device and play it. And it sounds great. And I can have hours of music on a tiny, tiny little device. But for those of you who still like physical media, if you can call this physical media and not, say, a small flash drive, then these players work great. And if you can find some used somewhere out there, they should still work. I have not done anything to these since I bought them. Just used them gently. They have not needed any sort of repair, any sort of belt change. I don't even think they use belts. You saw the Slim X had nothing in it. And so they're all directly driven. So they don't really have anything that you need to replace in them. They pretty much should work even today. No problem. 15, 20 years out. I don't know the date code for this, to be honest. I don't see anything here on the back. Nope, I don't see anything. And on this one, I don't see manufactured and nothing written there. And even the Slim X, I don't have a date code on this one either. I don't see anything. But I'm sure they're up there in age. If I find out, I'll leave it in the comments to the video. But I have no idea at this point. All right, anyway, thank you for watching. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and hope to catch you next time. Bye for now.